Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about Dustin Henderson. So, Dustin Henderson is one of the core four in Stranger Things Season 2. Just real quick. So, Stranger Things Season 2, I think it's a 5 out of 5 star show. I actually thought it was better than Stranger Things Season 1. And this content contains major spoilers for Stranger Things Season 1 and Season 2. Okay. All right. So Dustin Henderson is a really, really interesting character. We got to see, and the great thing about Stranger Things Season 2 is I really am amazed with what the Duffer Brothers accomplished with Season 1, with Stranger Things Season 2. It really just picks up 1 year later, but everything is really, the story is progressing almost linearly. Like it really, you're seeing these kids, and they're growing. I think they're going into, this was their last year of junior high, right? And we're dealing with 1984, right? So one of the things with Dustin is he is one of the nice things. It seems everybody within the party, the four main friends, they really are strong. They have a very strong friendship, and they're, the bonds there are so tight that it's going to, it can withstand some strain, right? So one of the things is Dustin's role within that friendship group. So Dustin is he's very knowledgeable. One of the things that's really interesting is Mike is the game master, right? And within their Dungeons and Dragons game, but actually most good solid Dungeons and Dragons core player groups have a player like Dustin, where they actually know the content in the books even better than the game master, right? And so one of the things you see there is, and this was, so Dustin's actually the one that remembers the Mind Flayer and explains the Mind Flayer and uses it as a as kind of a filter to allow everybody else in the room to understand what they're dealing with, right? And there's actually a discussion on whether it was a metaphor or an allegory, which I thought that was really, really cool discussion, right? So basically, Dustin is really smart. It's arguable he's one of the smartest kids, if not the smartest kid in the group, right? Which is very interesting. It also, we're going to get to, we're actually going to get, we're going to get to Will. And I think in many ways, just thinking about Dustin, with Will, we really don't fully understand who he is yet. I think, he hasn't really emerged in his capabilities, his personality, things like that. But we know exactly who Dustin is. Dustin is really upfront. He's very, very smart. I'm tempted to say he's charismatic, right? He is charismatic, but he has a type of charisma that has really, really limited range, right? So he tells jokes that a lot of people don't get. He likes to use neologisms. A lot of people, demo dogs is a neologism, by the way. And so, and I really, really, really like the scenes where Dustin was trying to get demo dogs off the ground. Because if you watch my channel, I'm really into neologisms. I've done at least 10 or 20 neologisms on my own channel, and neologisms are hard to get off the ground. That's the only way you get them started, is you just introduce them to people and you use them, right? And you always get that same look from everybody when they're like, why do we need this word, right? But neologisms are awesome, and Dustin understands that. So Dustin has this really unusual charisma that is very limited. It doesn't, a lot of people don't get it, right? He's a tried and true member of the AV Club. And one of the things that was really interesting in this particular season was we got to see up close Dustin's home life, right? So we got to see his mom, and I think we may have seen his mom in season 1. But we got to see essentially, it looks like his home life is, he spends a good amount of time, talking with his mom. His mom really dotes on him, and they both have, the Henderson family has a cat, right? By the way, I don't think it's clear at all where Dustin's dad is. That's an entire topic in itself, is how Stranger Things as a series deals with fathers. But I just thought it was interesting that his dad is out of the picture. Now, with that said, Dustin is pretty stable and strong and smart, considering that, right? So, it really was quite interesting. Dustin had some really awesome moments in this particular season. So, of course, it all starts with him finding D'Artagnan, this super tiny, vicious tadpole in his trash, who he names D'Artagnan, one of the three musketeers. Oh, yeah, so let's talk about it, right? So, I absolutely loved the product placement in Stranger Things 2. So to me, product placement, that's one thing that I'm really trying to start to do in life. I'm hyper aware of this when I see it in other people, but I'm starting to get like, hey, it's not cool to just see something in other people and call it out there. You need to definitely try to do what you can to take care of these problems in your own life. And that is longing for a world that's gone, right? And so with Dustin, and the world where we are not going to have product placements in shows is gone, because it's just too powerful, too effective, and you're going to see product placement going forward, right? So it doesn't make sense to pine over the long lost days of shows without product placement. But what you can hope for is product placement that fits and product placement that's clever. And I was really delighted with the product placement that was in Stranger Things 2, and of course Three Musketeers is product placed into Stranger Things 2. And so of course D'Artagnan, one of his first favorite foods is nougat. Three Musketeers. So D'Artagnan is so it's really cool. Like we get to see Dustin taking he actually, so in order to see what's in the trash can, he actually goes over and looks in the trash can himself. He doesn't get help. And I was like, wait, there could really be something dangerous in there. Why doesn't he go get one of his friends? Why would somebody go right into the trash can and deal with whatever is there, right? It seems kind of dangerous. Well, I think the reason why was this thing was at his home, right? So he knows that there's a lot of dangerous things going on. He knows the truth about what happened with Will, right? So his mom and his cat is there at the house. He has to be the man of the house. And I really, and again, like Dustin he is courageous, right? And I think all of the party members are used to adventure now in their own real lives, which is amazing. It's really, really a cool aspect of the show. So it really is, it's just so neat to see how, Dungeons & Dragons lays over the entire show and all the characters in the show as kind of like a template, right? And they are, they adventure. And actually, one thing I think is really interesting is we don't see them play Dungeons & Dragons a single time in season 2, right? And I thought, that's really interesting. Why is that, right? Why would that party, stop playing Dungeons & Dragons? And I think, well, the real reason is we play Dungeons & Dragons in order to go on adventures. But if you're literally going on adventures on your own time, why do you need to simulate something you're doing for real? And so I think that's the issue is it would be hard for you to go back to a game that simulates monsters when there are very real monsters in the world, and where you already know there are very real dungeons probably, right under your feet or within your own town, right? So all of those things are very, different, right? And it's really interesting. So Dustin gets D'Artagnan. He starts feeding him and he starts taking care of him. I think that D'Artagnan imprinted on Dustin, and I was waiting through the entire season to see that time where D'Artagnan would come across Dustin and, you know, have that moment where he's going to eat him and then decide not to eat him, right? Which we got, and I thought that was a great moment. It's a really cool moment, and I liked for when they saved it for it worked out really well, and it was like, you know, you could see it coming, but it was excellent, a really nice moment. So it was also really telling about Dustin's character when we actually get to see how he responds to D'Artagnan. Right, so he has this creature, and he doesn't know what it is. So this is one of the reasons why Dustin is absolutely my favorite. He is my favorite character within the party, and that is his response is go to the library, right? And so he gets every book he can on reptiles, and he starts just reading and learning about reptiles so that he can know what D'Artagnan is or what D'Artagnan is not. And the way research works, he finds out what D'Artagnan is not, right? And it was just really fascinating, really, really fun aspect of Dustin Henderson. The fact that, you know, so he goes, he gets 5 books out. Then the next day he needs to get 5 more books out. And he goes, and he has this conversation with the librarian, and she's like, well, I'd love to let you get these books out, but you already have 5 books, and you have to bring those 5 books back in order to get these 5 books. And he's like, listen, I'm on a journey of discovery, and I need my paddles, right? You know, like, I'm on a journey on the river of discovery, and I need my paddles, referring to the books as his paddles, right? And so he uses that charisma, he uses that charm he has. It totally fails. It does not work on the librarian, and she's like, you got to bring the other ones back. Then you can sign these out. And so he's like, I need my paddles, and he runs out of the library. It's the best line in the whole show, I need my paddles, as he's running out of the library with stolen library books. Now, I watched this show with my wife, and we are, the Garibay family, libraries are like, they're super special places to us. We love libraries. Now, libraries have really served different roles in the Garibay household over time, which I think is really kind of interesting. So there was a day when we were poor, like it's, 10, 15 years ago, and we just didn't have a lot of money, and libraries were really, really important to us. Like, we could go and get movies, and we could get CDs to listen to, and we could get books, and comic book graphic novels, and libraries have always been incredibly important to us. Nowadays, we still go to the library, right? And the reason why is the libraries have gotten way more awesome than they used to be. They have more and more content all the time. Most communities understand how important libraries are today, and libraries are amazing places. So, it was really, it was so, and so to us, the idea of stealing a library book is just, you would never do that. It's just, in fact, I actually personally struggled with this exact issue. There's a library that I frequent that has has a tabletop role-playing game book. It has the Knights of the Republic D20 system Star Wars tabletop role-playing game. That book is worth $300 minimum, right? And I was like, holy cows, And I told my wife, let's just get it out, and then I'll say I lost it and keep it, right? Because, I saw that book, man, I was like, just my scruples just went away for a moment. She's like, you can't do that. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I'm 100% right. I can't do that. So I returned the book. And so the idea of, stealing library books has actually tempted me, So, I just see myself so much in Dustin. And, he's really, he's just a fantastic character. And that was one of my favorite parts of seeing Dustin in season 2 was the I need my paddles, and it was really, really cool, just super fun. And, it was really nice. So D'Artagnan continues to grow, and he's molting, right? So he's shedding his skin and, becoming, and getting to a point where he's shedding his skin. And each time he gets bigger and he gets more dangerous, right? And Dustin sees this, right? But that's another thing is, it's very clear too that Dustin, while, D'Artagnan has imprinted on Dustin, it's very clear to me that Dustin has lost all objectivity when it comes to D'Artagnan. So he couldn't really see that, that D'Artagnan was growing into a monster, because he didn't see D'Artagnan as a monster. He saw him as a creature, or really as a pet, right? So Dustin comes home one day, and D'Artagnan has eaten his cat, right? So Dustin realizes right then that he has a major problem and he has to deal with it. And then, so then he has to go and capture this creature, which runs around and tries to escape. And he has to call in Steve to help him with this situation. Steve comes in and assists, and, does a great job of assisting him. It was really fantastic. So we also a major storyline with Dustin is the introduction of Max. So Max comes into the picture. Both Dustin and Lucas are interested in Max, and both of them are taking the role of suitor to Max, right? And the two of them, I thought it was really cute the way the two of them were like, yeah, we're both interested in her, and we're both friends, and this is gonna work out great, right? And at the end we see it doesn't work out great, right? So Max chooses Lucas. Dustin is absolutely heartbroken. By the way, I think that the way that Dustin was dressed at the very end, his hair, his suit, his moves, all of it was straight out of Pretty in Pink. He is Ducky, right? So I thought that was really cool, using the aesthetics of Ducky for Dustin. Very, very cool. It was really fascinating. They did such a great job with him in this particular season. That end scene in the gym was really just heartbreaking. Seeing Dustin, realizing that Max was, beyond. He was not going to be able to reach Max. He wasn't going to be able to sell her what he was what he was trying to sell, and she was not interested. And that's hard, right? So, but he's like, I'm not going to, nothing can put me down. I'm going to keep going. And then him trying, 2 or 3 other girls, and realizing, and Dustin's just in that situation where he's realizing no one understands who I am, what I am, my value. And man, that is a hard place to be. That is a hard place to be. Now, I'm very fortunate. I found, someone who sees my value, and someone to walk through this world with. I've been married 25 years now, and it's tough. It is really tough. Just seeing that was really, really, really difficult, seeing Dustin in that situation. And the only reason why is, of course you're watching a television show, that these are characters, but the type of heartbreak I've experienced that twice in my life, and just seeing that on screen, that was hard to see for Dustin. So the arc for Dustin overall in this season was really tremendous. We really got to see, I don't think, and one of the things I thought was really interesting is I don't think Dustin really changed at all. Dustin was really the same character in this show as he was in the last, and that's okay, because Dustin's a strong character, and we were just seeing more of Dustin, just getting to see more screen time with him. He served the same role he served the same role in overall in the party group, and he brought a lot of the same things to the table that he brought last season. But he's such a great character, he didn't really need to be built out anymore. We just needed to see more of him, which we did. Dustin Henderson, one of my favorite characters in Stranger Things Season 2. Take care.